Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about the quality of Dungeons and Dragons, right? And how the quality on Dungeons and Dragons is so good that when compared to the quality of OSR and indie products, the OSR and the indie community literally don't even have the language to have the discussion. They can't even define quality, let alone achieve it. Let me try to prove this to you. So I was on Twitter. This whole video is coming from one tweet. Oh, and if you want to know the full deets, just go onto my Twitter account and scroll back on October, I think it's October 9th. I actually did a repost on this, and so somebody was like, this company, how dare they? They're putting up another, how dare they do this? They're putting up another Kickstarter. They have thousands of backers who have not had anything fulfilled on one Kickstarter. They have another Kickstarter that's delivered nothing, and another Kickstarter that's delivered nothing. They have 3 Kickstarters that have not fulfilled at either a significant amount or no amount, right? And so, Kickstarter, you need to take this company off, and they can't start another Kickstarter. How dare they start another Kickstarter? And I'm like, and so, all right, so of course, this nonsense communication, this nonsense conversation only comes from the OSR and the indie. Of course, these, we're discussing an OSR and indie company, and the reason why is none of this conversation happens on D&D because Dungeons and Dragons can define quality and achieve it. In the OSR and in the indies, they literally cannot even define quality. So let's get into this, right? So first of all, there's a bunch of nonsense that happens on Kickstarter, right? A bunch of ridiculous junk happens, right? People give their money and receive nothing, okay? Now, this doesn't happen all the time, right? But it definitely happens some of the time. Or you might give your money and get your product 12 years later. Yeah, that's what happened with Gareth Michael Skarka's Far West. It took 12 years to fulfill that Kickstarter, right? Now, if a company does a Kickstarter, promises the world, people give money, and they get nothing back, who's that on? It's on the people who back the Kickstarter, right? And you're like, why is that, Scott? Because if you want a product for money, there's a company that does that. Their name is Hasbro. They make Dungeons and Dragons. They took all the costs, right, of creating it. They took all the costs of designing it, of writing it, of creating the art, right? Every bit of the cost, every bit of the risk. They sent it to distributors without getting paid first, right? And there it is sitting on the shelf. And if you take your wallet out and you pick the book up, you get it. That's how real companies work. And that's how real quality is defined, right? If you go on Kickstarter, you are hoping, right? You are putting down dollars you almost certainly do not need. I can tell you right now, poor people do not Kickstarter, right? Like, I don't think poor people know what Kickstarter is, right? Kickstarter is a group of the most privileged, wealthy people on the planet, right? And they are taking dollars they do not need, and they are putting them down, right? Listen carefully. And they are putting them down on products that are a gamble, right? That any real company would not gamble on. That is exactly what Kickstarter is. It is for creating products that no real company would gamble on. And sometimes that gamble works, right? And you get something amazing that no real company would ever make, right? And sometimes you put your money on somebody who had good intentions and did not have any capability, right? Right? They had more goodwill than they had capability. You understand that? You follow me there? Right? If you want reliability, if you want to know that you're going to put your money down and you're going to get the product, you go with a real company. If you want to bet dollars that you almost certainly do not need on a product that is so weird and unique that no company will actually take the gamble on it. That is exactly what Kickstarter is for. And both systems are what make America great, right? And anyone who does not receive product, right, from Kickstarter, first of all, almost certainly didn't need it, right? Because I'm convinced. I don't think there's anyone but wealthy, privileged people up on Kickstarter, right? Even to follow Kickstarter, you need a sound understanding of the digital world. You know, like, yeah, I'm telling you, there are no, and so at that point, right? You reach this point where if you're backing something on Kickstarter and you're not getting your product, that's on you, right? If you wanted to make a regular exchange and be certain you got what you wanted to get, there's a place to do that. Hasbro D&D is it, right? And they don't put out a little bit of product. They put out like half a dozen products a year in D&D. That's just D&D canon hardbacks. We get 4 to 6 D&D canon hardbacks a year. That's quality, right? We've reached a point where the OSRs and the indies don't even have the language to discuss quality. And the reason why is the vast majority of OSR and indie products that people are excited about, that are prominent, come through Kickstarter. And guess what? If you're releasing through Kickstarter, you should be ashamed. You ain't put on your big girl pants yet, right? And you're releasing on actually, that's a good point, right? If you're competing against, if you have some unique, first of all, ain't nobody in the world need to Kickstarter any tabletop role-playing product. This is an existing market, right? There's no need for any TTRPG. If you, like, let's say you find you figure it out, and you find out how to make a punctureless tire, right? That's never been made, right? I've never bought a punctureless. Oh, a punctureless tire that can be sold for $100. Kickstarter it. That's a unique, wild fantasy product that belongs on Kickstarter, right? Nobody needs to back you making a tabletop role-playing game. You put on your big girl pants, you set up a company, and you put your products out like the big dog, right? Hasbro D&D. They do it 6 times a year, and they do not miss, right? And that's the point, is OSR and indie at this point are doing something that is shameful. They are so far behind Hasbro D&D in quality, they don't even have the language to have this discussion, right? So I really feel like this, you know, I love Dungeons & Dragons because they take the risk from us, the consumer, and they put it on their own back, right? And that's what you get here. An honest discussion of Hasbro D&D. Not, well, I didn't like Spelljammer because it wasn't 400 pages long like it was in the 80s. Right? Spelljammer was amazing. It was an incredible product. That is the reason we're now getting Spelljammer, which is an incredible product and literally setting the bar for quality in the tabletop role-playing game industry. I'm so sick to death of the OSR complaining that Hasbro should do anything their way. Why? So they can slash their market by 300%? Right? Like, or actually 3,000%? Not an exaggeration. Right? Like, it's incredible. Like, the OSR and the indie need to stop complaining about Dungeons & Dragons, pay more attention, and follow it, and actually get to a point where they can actually even define quality, let alone achieve it. I could not believe the audacity of this, you know, of this person's text. And the reason why is they don't even have the language to discuss quality. Hasbro and D&D not only can define it, they can deliver it. And right now, tell me if I'm wrong, I think they're the only company in the world who can. Maybe Paizo is on that list. Actually, no. I don't think Paizo's on that list. I think most people are really frowning on PF2. Also, tell me if I'm wrong, they were part of this orc thing, and that's turned into or fizzled into nothing. Nobody cares, right? And they were supposed to beat Dungeons and Dragons with the orc, right? And people are like, you were gonna define a new OGL, but they put it on, but Dungeons and Dragons actually, you know, kind of spun down the OGL and just replaced it with Creative Commons, which is like way better than the org, right? So I don't think Paizo's really delivering quality at all, right? Maybe Modifius. They are crushing it with licensed products. So I honestly think the only two companies in the industry who can even define quality, let alone deliver it, is Hasbro, and I would put Modifius on that list. I think they are defining quality and delivering product. They don't need to Kickstarter stuff to not, tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe half their stuff is Kickstartered. I don't know. I think Modifius put on their big girl pants a while ago and started distributing like a real company. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.